Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let's talk some week 2 NFL props where we're going to get into the best props and the anytime touchdown scores that I'll have in these week 2 contests. I just did my video where I give out my best bets for the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games here on this Sunday. If you haven't seen that, make sure you go check it out and turn on that notification bell. Please subscribe down below to the channel too if you have not already done so. Join us here at TBM and let's get down into it, okay? And for this video, we're going to be diving into Outlier, kind of my go-to when I talk about props here on the channel. But we are going to be looking at each and every game where I give you guys my best bets in terms of a prop perspective. If you want to see all the data and what Outlier has to offer as a sports gambler here in the industry, make sure you click my link down below. Sign up for Outlier with a 7-day free trial using that link down below, okay? But this is where we're going to talk about the first game on the card. This is the New York Jets and the Tennessee Titans. Quite frankly, there's something to be said about what Tennessee is kind of showing as being one of the sharper plays of the day. For me, we're going to look for not Joe Mixon, but for Tony Pollard to have a kind of a large game against the Jets. I look for the Jets defense to play better under Robert Saleh versus what they were able to do against the Tennessee Titans. But I think that that's something to be said that, the San Francisco 49ers ran rampant over Jets defense that's supposed to be pretty stout against the run. So the Jets are a little banged up. So if you do want to get on some Tony Pollard props, not a bad move, but that's kind of where I am within this handicap. There's no real clear props that I like other than taking Tony Pollard over, his rushing receiving against the Jets. But it's not enough for me to make an official play. Aaron Rodgers to throw an interception, that's always a juicy play out there. So that's something that I would look at as well. All right, no play for me in Seattle in the Patriots. We look at kind of who enters for Kenneth Walker. So Zach Charbonnet into that fold. Charbonnet anytime touchdown is entertaining. We look for him, but to do well in this game. But against a New England Patriots defense that kind of was really stout against the run attack for the Bengals last week, no real clear advantage in that. So no props for me. The Colts-Packers game is going to be probably one of the more heavily bet run prop games. I look for 2 anytime touchdown scores in this, Jonathan Taylor and Josh Jacobs. I'm also going to take Josh Jacobs kind of over his rushing as well. I have him in fantasy as well, but I do think the Colts defense is very porous in stopping that interior run. So I look for Jacobs and Taylor to have really good games on the ground. That would be kind of really strong plays in terms of a prop perspective. All right. Saints Cowboys. This is something where we're going to look into kind of what's going to happen because by all accounts, Marshawn Lattimore may not suit up for this game. If so, CeeDee Lamb stock up. Look for Dak to throw the football a lot as well. This is going to be probably one of the higher scoring games in my opinion. So CeeDee Lamb would definitely be a player to attack from this standpoint. Okay. Then we can talk about Cleveland and Jacksonville. No play for me other than Christian Kirk. I think that he's going to have a lot more targets. The Browns, if you want to look into David Njoku, kind of over his receptions, I like that. I also do like fading Evan Ingram in this spot. The Browns have been pretty good against tight ends, so with what they're able to do and cover that position, I look for kind of Christian Kirk to have a good game, fading Evan Ingram, and bullish on the likes of Amari Cooper and David Njoku in this matchup. Okay, Raiders and Ravens. This will be a game where we look at the Ravens to cover a big number. I think that what we're able to see with Derrick Henry, I think he gets 70 on the ground. So going over Derrick Henry, 69.5 rushing yards, that will be in a play for me. Also, I kind of like him from a touchdown scoring perspective, but I think there's better options out there for the money. So I am going to go Derrick Henry over rushing in that one. All right, no play for me in Chargers, Panthers outside of taking the likes of J.K. Dobbins getting a touchdown in this game. I think that all the Chargers running backs for that count are going to have very efficient ground games. So I look for the Harbaugh-led Chargers to have a success on the ground. J.K. Dobbins, anytime touchdown scorer, okay? Buccaneers, Lions, okay? You definitely could go target Mike Evans, 2 touchdown grabs in week 1. But I think this is where we saw some press conferences from Dan Campbell this week. They're going to get Amon-Ra St. Brown the ball. Okay, so 10 plus targets for him in this spot. I look for him to get well over his receiving yards, and also I think he gets a touchdown grab. Also, I do like the likes of taking Detroit's tight end to have success as well. Sam Laporta, I think he's going to get a good game offensively, and I think we're going to see more of an aerial attack from the Lions. And this one has the making of a shootout, highest total on the board. So this is one where you look at Amon-Ra over 80.5 receiving yards. Amon-Ra, anytime touchdown grab as well. Now, the Giants and Commanders game, that's one that's interesting to note. I'm not going to bet this one from a side or a total, but for all accounts, we saw kind of some comments from the coach. They don't want to see Jaden Daniels run the ball 16 times. So I'm going to take him under his 10.5 rush attempts. Also, I look for Daniel Jones to kind of have an effective game on the ground. I think that he's playing for his job, so to speak. Malik Neighbors is definitely a player that you could target over his receiving yards. Seems to be the only bright spot on this Giants ball club. So I look for Malik Neighbors to get a big grab, a lot of targets in this game. Probably close to 10 targets if I was going to guess at it. And hopefully you see that number set at around, I think, 5.5 receptions. So Malik Neighbors receiving yards up and Daniel Jones rushing yards up. Jaden Daniels, let's fade him on the ground in this matchup. Okay, that looks to be a little lower scoring. All right, and the 49ers Vikings, you can get a lot involved a lot of ways in this one. Me personally, without Christian McCaffrey, do we see the same kind of offense from kind of Mason in this spot? Most likely, probably, that's going to happen. Anytime touchdown scorer, that's a great bet for him, but we're not going to take that. If anything in this game that I do like, without Jordan Addison, I do look for Sam Darnold. He's going to throw a pick. That's coming. They're going to have to throw the football to keep pace with the 49ers. I think he's going to be over-leveraged at times. He's going to be under pressure. And the 49ers know exactly what Sam Darnold's going to bring to the table. So for me, that's kind of where I'm at. Also, Deebo Samuel, taking him over his rushing and receiving yards. That's also a bet that I like as well. Okay. Now we can talk about the Rams-Cardinals because we do not have Puka Nacua. And in this spot, I think that we're going to get a very interesting matchup. And for me, the bet is going to be along the lines of taking a lot of points in this one. Okay, so if I was going to play this game, I think that the Rams use Kyron Williams. They go back to the bread and butter. I think his rush plus receiving yards is a firm grasp for a prop out there. So I do like that. Also, I do want to touch base on that last game. I forgot to mention. I look for Brock Purdy to have a big game. So right now his pass yards are really low, over 234.5. That's definitely the outlier, I think, on the board. So if you take Brock Purdy over his pass yards, that's probably the only quarterback pass yards prop that I do like. Maybe outside of taking Joe Burrow to kind of a bounce back, but I'm not too in love with that one. Okay. And like I said, Bengals and Chiefs, just to touch on that, I think that we do see a big Pacheco game. This one total set at 47.5. With always the case with Kansas City, utilizing Travis Kelce, not so much in week one, but I look for him to have a big game. Also, let's entertain Mike Gesicki, possibly a little sleeper for anytime touchdown scorer for the Bengals. But for me, this is going to be a Pacheco game all the way. So Pacheco, anytime touchdown, as well as the likes of possibly taking Joe Burrow getting an interception, and the likes of Pacheco getting his rush receiving yards combined, little combo over that number. Okay. And then we'll talk about the Steelers-Broncos game where I do see Bo Nix struggling against Mike Tomlin. Great track record against rookie quarterbacks. I look for him to throw a pick. I think that he's going to force the ball into some situations. I know the total set at 36.5. I don't know how much they're going to actually run the ball. But Bo Nix to throw an interception, that is a firm bet for me. I really like that one out there in the market. Okay. And that'll about wrap it up. That is kind of the rundown of the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games. The only one that I think we didn't touch on is kind of a touchdown score for the Monday night matchup, just so you guys know and aware. Jalen Hurts, he didn't score a touchdown rushing. I think they're going to emphasize getting that tush push back into full effect. So I look for Jalen Hurts to score on the ground. I know what they're able to do with Saquon Barkley having 3 touchdowns in last game. I think that they're going to get around the goal line quite often, and the Falcons' defense looks to be stout in terms of stopping the run, but that was against the Steelers. But I do think that they're going to put an emphasis in getting Jalen Hurts some tush pushes in this game, and I think he does get into the end zone and find pay dirt. So those will wrap up my touchdown scores and my prop bets that I have for this Sunday slate. If you guys have any comments, feedback, any bets that you'll be making or that you'll be on, feel free to leave it down below in the comments. And if you have not done so, please make sure that you subscribe on your way out. Smash that like button. And this is the complete rundown of all my best prop bets and my touchdown scores for this Sunday. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the video where we go over the Sunday night matchup that we have between the Houston Texans and the Chicago Bears.